Today, I talk about two men destined to create. Two men bursting with talent. Two men on a crash course to battle in the depths of hell for eternity. Today, I talk about the drama saga between Eric July and Ethan Van Sciver, and if it's worth it. Cut the music! Summer of 2022, Eric July announces the launch of the Rippaverse. And with this announcement, it generates a lot of excitement. Excitement amongst his fan base, interested in supporting him in his new venture. It does take balls to create something and put it out into the world. Excitement amongst a bunch of small-time creators like myself, who are desperate for attention to some of our projects. It's very difficult trying to obtain somebody's undivided attention online these days. Shortly after that, Razorfist comes out and throws out the term IronAge, and that's all it really took for a bunch of small-time creative people to start networking together in the background and helping each other become better at their craft. While the IronAge is heating up, I also learned of another movement called Comicsgate. Well, I'm not a huge comic fan anymore, but I look into it because I'm an indie guy and I like to support indies. And I find some really cool work, so I start backing them. And I ended up getting back into comics, and I take my kids to the comic store. It's kind of like a once a month thing that we have fun with. And I eventually find my favorite new comic, which is Kozor Descent into Madness, and things are good. I have a creator movement over here of comics. I have a creator movement that I'm involved in, writing novels and music and all different kinds of things. And there seems to be this independent revolution going on with creating stories. Then, I think we're about a year in. It was June of 2023. I see a flash cast clip of Eric July and Dick Masterson, and I think, that hits a bit differently. After that, a lawsuit drops. There's a discussion on charity. Eric July hops on Nick Rekieta's stream, and fireworks ensue. EVS turns heel, and when he hears the pop from the internet crowd, EVS turns NWO heel, and Trashcast is born. And on and on and on the saga goes. And as of this month, May, we are almost 1 year in to possibly the most complex internet drama saga I have ever seen. I responsibly enjoy internet drama. After all, that's our complaint against mainstream media, is that these properties lack drama, and it doesn't matter what genre we're talking about, whether it's action, fantasy, sci-fi, if it's a thriller, a mystery. If your story lacks drama, it's not worth your time. Now, this isn't a piece of media. These are exchanges from people online. So at what point is there a diminishing return on the drama? At what point does the drama stop becoming worth it? Being a creator who's genuinely invested in the success of the IronAge and a fan of Comicsgate, being both, and also being somebody that will not choose one or the other, I've got to ask myself personally. I've got to selfishly analyze if the drama was worth it for me. And unfortunately, it kind of has been. I've learned about things like the 180-degree rule or the 8-head rule, perspectives, lighting sources, and as the default art director for my project, Ruthless, the heavy metal audio comic, which I'll plug more at the end, these things have all helped me become a better creator. I've also learned things away from the drama, just in regular conversations with other creators. I've learned a lot from writers on, how to write better dialogue, setting a scene, character motivations, how you need to constantly escalate the stakes, right? Rising tension. All these things have made me better as well. Has the drama been nuanced? Oh, yes. I'm going to talk about Immortal Rising. And this is really kind of the thing that did eventually turn me off a little bit from Eric. Aaron from Immortal Rising is a successful family man. He's a guy later on in his life coming back and taking a shot at being a creative person, putting out books. I only knew of Aaron at this point. I've been on his show after this occurred, and we got along basically exactly how I thought we would. He's a cool dude. He has other creators on, and he's just cool to sit down and talk to. He's a guy you can have a beer with, right? So Another gentleman by the name of B.A. Turner is going at Eric, and Eric is going back at B.A., and I guess Eric misrepresented something that B.A. said. And Aaron, being B.A.'s internet friend, I'm not sure how close they are, but they're buddies of some sorts, comes in and points out how Eric misrepresented what B.A. said. Now, B.A.'s kind of a guy who rubs me the wrong way, but I won't judge him until I sit down and talk to him. But Aaron's analysis of what Eric said was fair. If you go back and read the thread, I remember reading it and saying, okay, that's kind of a fair point that Aaron comes back with. Eric's response to this was to find Aaron, Immortal Rising, find his campaign on Fund My Comic and fund it, and then follow that up with a tweet that he funded his project and that he hopes that he takes this as a life lesson, or paraphrasing, but something along those lines, which is kind of disrespectful. If someone did that to me, I would not have responded with as much grace as Aaron from Immortal Rising did. Aaron's response to this was to refund the money because little did Eric know, Aaron's campaign, his main campaign, was on a different platform. It was already funded. And the Fund My Comic was just a storefront. So kind of an embarrassing scenario after, a YouTuber with 500,000 subs tries to big time a little guy. Aaron refunds the money back to Eric. So where's the nuance? Well, as a result of this refund, Eric circles back to Twitter and offers to fund other creators' projects. And as a result of this, my internet buddy, Daniel P. Riley, great writer, great guy, gets his first comic book funded, Jezediah, which is based off his novels. It's a new venture for Dan. It's a ballsy move. And he got the financial juice that he needed to keep going. I don't care how his book was funded. I just care that it was funded because I want to see that guy be successful. This is just one instance in this year-long saga of drama going online between Eric July, Dick Masterson, EVS, IronAge, Comicsgate, all these players coming together in this soup of shit for your entertainment pleasure. Sometimes I think, which side is more right? Which side is more right? And I don't know if that's a fair question, but I think both sides have blood on their hands. I think both sides have done some shady shit, and both sides have done some really funny, entertaining shit. I know a lot of people want a puppet. I don't want one. The guy that makes the puppets is cunning and ruthless and just biting. And I don't think a lot of you can get to me online, but if anybody can, it's probably him. So I would like to not have a puppet. Thank you. There are really only two things that bothered me a little bit. One is a discouragement of small-time creators. When someone says something like this.
Hey, guys. There's no such thing as the IronAge. Psst. That's something that you want to happen, but it isn't going to happen. Psst. It isn't real. There's Comicsgate.
The other thing that bothers me, really bothers me, is when you have these big YouTubers throw out the term IronAge in passing, only when they have other big YouTubers on who are putting out a project, or even having on Comicsgate people, they'll throw out the term IronAge. And they'll do it in passing at the end of the interview, and then they'll go and make 6 videos about Echo, like we care about Echo, like anybody watched Echo. And this particularly bothers me because all of these guys are aware of IronAge aggregators, people like IronAge Media, Drink with Crazy, who know all of these small-time stories and can recommend, the cream of the crop to these guys. Like, what are you doing? Nobody cares about Echo. Nobody. I want to be clear. It's not a lack of attention. I don't care. I've been self-made before when it comes to creative stuff. I'm willing to be self-made again. I think that's the best way to do it. And if you're an independent creator watching this, that's the mindset you need to have. But if you're going to attach yourself to a movement and then just treat it like that, it's not a good look for the movement. So if you're going to do that, you might as well, I think you should just stop and just let us build it over, the course of years, which we will do. I'll end by saying something nice about both Eric and EVS. I don't think anybody has taken a beating like Eric has over the last year. I mean, the level of cleverness that's been put into the mockery of this over the last years has been brutal to watch. And the guy's resilient, and I think you should give him that. And even though I'm not an active supporter of the Rippaverse anymore, he still has the ability to win me back with how he advances forward. And I hope he does. I'd like to see him succeed. As far as EVS, I mean, the guy's a brilliant broadcaster. And for all of his faults, you have to admit that he has this crazy ability to sell other people's comics. Not just his own, but other people. And you saw recently how it's helped a few people like Liam. I know that Camelot's not a comic guy, but what he did for him was pretty cool. I like seeing people's dreams come true. So we'll give him that. As far as Comicsgate versus IronAge, I think a lot of it's manufactured. A lot of people on both sides are still friends with each other, at least online. But what I will say to the naysayers and doubters of the IronAge is a lot of things, especially that Ethan has said, is unfortunately kind of been correct. I think you do have some of the bigger YouTubers taking advantage of it, trying to make some money off of it. But I also know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you have hundreds of little guys that really do care about their stories. They're older in life and they're just trying to take one more swing at getting something out there and seeing if it hits. And I can respect that till the day I die. The smaller sect of the IronAge is kind of like an unofficial guild of creators working together to perfect their craft. And I don't know if that's my definition of the IronAge, but that's my experience with it. So I think if you're patient with us and you invest in us a little bit, I think we'll deliver down the line. Just let us get good enough to draw some attention and we'll get there. And to everybody using the IronAge hashtag, I'm going to quote John Malin, grab an oar. If you're going to use the hashtag, grab an oar. One more thing. My favorite part of ISOM was that panel where you had the X-ray vision where he was crushing that guy's bones on the inside. It was my favorite part of ISOM when I read it, back when I got the book, and it's my favorite part today. I'm easy to please. Thank you for watching. If this video entertained you, check out my main project, Ruthless. A heavy metal audio comic that follows a man named Ash, searching for his family after an event called The Short eliminates all electricity on the planet. At the end of the world, he hunts for the ones he loves. But little does he know, someone's on the hunt for him. Watch Ruthless Issue 2 for free right now on this very YouTube channel or X. You gotta be ruthless. You gotta be ruthless.